Hello everybody, it's Steve Colding here, a little late, but glad I'm here. And I'm here to help you with chess. Steve Colding from Chess for Children, that's my website. And we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 to 12. Okay, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, although we missed last Friday, I've been playing I was completely confused and completely forgot. That's what happens when you get old. Okay, so here I am, Steve Colding, ready to answer your questions on chess. But for now, we could look at a video, we could do whatever, but we'll just wait for other people to... We're not going to play... We're not going to play a Simo. Simo takes a little long and it's a little weary on me playing 20 people at once. We'll do that eventually. But what I'll do today... Hi viewer, how you doing? Welcome to my channel. What we'll do today is we'll see if we can play individually, or I'll answer any chess related questions. And we will continue our series on... the 7 elements to the game of chess. And if you'd like to know about the 7 elements to the game of chess, they're time, space, force, position, harmony, dynamics, and psychology. There are 7 elements to the game of chess. And the subject today is force. Okay, and force, and what kind of force there is. So let me see if I could set everything up. Okay, and we are going to do, go to the chess lesson. Hi everybody, it's me, Mr. C, and today's subject will be... force in chess.
So much fun, you'll split a rib. Summer, winter, fall, we'll checkmate them all with a Chess for Children game.
Chess for Children. We make children smarter.
Please welcome author, lecturer, chess coach, and CEO of Chess for Children, National Master, Steve Colding.
Hi, my name is Steve Colding from Chess for Children. Welcome to another video. If this is your first time here and you want to learn more about chess, chess openings, chess tactics, and all chess related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Well, how you doing? I hope you saw the introduction to the video. But what we're going to talk about today is we are going to talk about one of the 7 elements, that element being force. And the 7 elements, in case you forgot, are space, time, force, harmony, position, dynamics, and psychology. Okay, those are the 7 elements. And today's element we are going to talk about will be force. And for that, we are going to have to look at a game. And let me add a screen capture because I have to capture a screen. Let's see, screen capture, display capture. I guess that's it, right? Display capture. Add source. I've got add source. Nope, that's not that. Cancel that. Oh, look at this. This is all, let me display capture, which is minus. What do I have to do? Okay, I'm going to remove that. Let's see now. Screen capture would be, well, tell you what, I'm having a little trouble with this. Okay, let's see. Hold on. Let's go to game board. I could probably get that big board right here. Okay, and it's window capture. And right here, here's the thing.
We never show emotions, we just keep it down
inside. Okay, now we're at this position.
Yeah, you and I.
And let me just fix
longing
this a
for
little
expression
better.
for the things we
so
like,
that we
but we
can-
stay quiet.
Okay. And let me fix the window. I'm sorry about this, people. I should have been. I didn't have a lot of time here. I'm gonna just fix this a lot
Say it
better.
loud, say it loud. Wake the world on the other side, make it
And
real. Just let
until I
yourself
get it
go.
all right,
Just let
we're
go.
going to do this. And again, how you doing, viewer? Whoops.
Oh, yeah. Just let go.
I'm going to bring this up.
Just let go. Just let yourself go. Let yourself be and you. We're holding back each other in the things we do. It's
Okay,
all
let me
so
get this
blue.
chessboard correct.
Yeah, what if we
And I'll take care of the music.
could grow just like the flowers through the concrete? Just you and me.
Chessboard correct.
Hold me now, tell me things, tell me
And
all
now we got a
about
nice
how
big
you
chessboard.
feel. Just let yourself go. Say it loud, wake the world.
And now there we go. That's very good. Now let's take care of the music.
Just let
Okay, we're gonna take care of the music. Okay, put the music there. Okay, now here we are. Okay, I feel good now. Today we are going to talk about force. Well, what is force? Force in the game of chess is the amount of stuff that you have. If you have one more pawn, then you have more force than your opponent. Well, usually when we win something, when we win a pawn, a knight, a bishop or something, our opponent has some other element which counters that. Usually time or something else, because it usually takes a few moves. Good morning, Orphanex. How are you? How you doing? I'm glad you thank you for talking to me, by the way. And please feel free to talk to me and ask me any questions. Today's subject, Orphanex, is force in chess. We talked about time, we talked about space, we talked about position, okay? And so we're now going to, we didn't talk about position. We talked about time, we talked about space, and now we're going to talk about force. Well, I'm glad you find it interesting, Orphanex. See, Orphanex, good guy. What's your name? What's your real name anyway, Orphanex? So I can, do you have, okay, well, whatever. I keep calling you Orphanex, but you could give me your first name, and we'll be a little more buddy-like. Okay, let me move me over a little bit. Hold on. Where's window capture? Cam. Okay. Hey, George. Okay, now I know you from now on when you come on. I refer to you as George. Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, so George and I, we are now going to go over and look at the element of time. Now, in this, I have picked the game. What do you do when you have more stuff? And you have heard this, and it's a pretty easy thing to understand. But what do we do when we have more stuff? George, do you have an idea of what we do? George always gets the right answer. George, you have any idea what it is? Well, you've heard this a million times. Whenever we have more stuff than our opponent, we seek to trade. So that he has not. Right, George got it right again. We seek to trade so that our opponent has nothing and we have something. Because once we trade down where he has nothing and we have something, then there's no way he can win. Okay? So trading is good. The only exception to that, and there is an exception, is when when we trade pieces. We should seek to trade pieces and not pawns. Okay? Because a piece up won't help us if we have no pawns. So in that situation, we don't seek to trade pawns when we're up. We seek to trade pieces. Okay, so we are going to look at a classic example of this strategy in a game which you wouldn't believe is called by Paul Morphy, another Morphy game. I use a lot of Morphy's games because he shows us something. He was the really first scientific player. Then came Steinitz, okay, who really took it to another level. Okay, so Morphy's games. Okay, and George is right again. We trade. Okay, now here's the game. Morphy is playing Judge Meek, and Meek was weak, but he wasn't. He was one of the strongest American players at the time, and he was from New Orleans, just like Paul Morphy was. But he was a judge in New Orleans. He was probably a good friend of Paul Morphy's father, who was also a judge. Okay, and who also liked chess a lot, even though Paul Morphy was trained, if he was trained at all, he was trained by his uncle Ernest Morphy, who is also a player, and you can also find some of his games online in chessgames.com, etc. So New Orleans chess was vibrant at the time, and it had a lot of things going on. But this game was played during the first American Chess Conference, which was won by Paul Morphy. You could consider it the first American Chess Championship. And Morphy got a lot of fame. He won a little bit of money. He got to go to Europe afterwards and represent the United States as himself. And he played a series of matches, which he won all of them and crushed most of the opponents. And, well, if you know anything about Paul Morphy, called The Pride and Sorrow Chess, this is it. Anyway, he's playing Meek, and Meek was weak, but not overly so. Okay, although Morphy made him seem that way. So let's get into the game. Okay, now right here, first move, and now Meek ventures into the Scotch opening. The Scotch is a move, and the Scotch, by the way, big weapon of Garry Kasparov, and it's very hard to deal with if you don't know what you're doing. See, White says, okay, hey, at the cost of a little time, I'm going to open the position. The issue here, though, is White's trading space for time. And if Black doesn't realize that he's ahead in time, he could actually get into a very bad position. However, Kasparov used space in a great way, and he counteracted the time and in fact got a good advantage. It's up to Black really to try to maintain the equilibrium here, and he must do it through time. So here the next move. Pawn takes pawn. There had been other moves, but this is really overtime. It's best by tests. Okay, overtime. They've tried other moves, but this move is the best. And here, Meek offers a sacrifice. He plays c3. This sacrifice is a reasonable one. It's not. It leads to the Scotch. We call this the Scotch Gambit. It could also transfer into the Scotch Gambit. I get a little confused here because this could also be the Goring Gambit. So it's a little confusing because bishop goes to c4 and stuff like that, and it can also be the Alekhine Gambit. But in the meantime, whatever the nomenclature is, this is a gambit in which he's giving up a pawn for space, okay, and development and time. And Morphy accepts the pawn. Okay, which is fine. You could decline it by playing d3. d5 is also a move that should be considered. A lot of these moves, it's a lot of stuff you can do. Okay, so knight takes, and now Meek has two pieces out and a nice space advantage for the pawn. So what does Morphy do? He brings out its bishop. Knight out is also possible. it's good he gets a piece out. Now white has 2 pieces out, black has 2 pieces out. So the equilibrium is maintained. And here, white plays bishop c4. Now, what's the threat here? What do you think the threat is? And this is good. Meek played a good move to develop with a threat. And the threat is bishop takes f7, king takes, and queen d5 check. Right, very good. George got it again. I tell you, this guy's never wrong. Okay, the threat is bishop takes f7, king takes, and queen to d5 check, winning the bishop. And in fact, let me play those moves just to make it a little clearer for you. The moves are bishop takes, let's say he did a6. Then bishop takes f7, king takes, queen d5. Let's see, king here, I guess, and queen takes. And here, the material is even, but black is up, white is up in development, and black has lost the right to castle. Not a good way to start, not an auspicious way to start any game, okay? So, without a doubt, not the best, okay? So, let's see. Let's go back to d6. So Morphy plays d6, bishop c4, d6 to protect against that. Now Meek here plays, they also say, Meek here plays h3. Now h3 is not a developing move. This is a doubtful move. Because he doesn't develop. He doesn't bring it. He has a time advantage. He has a space advantage. He doesn't need to move pawns to bring out any pieces. Remember, in the opening, we move pawns to bring out pieces. We don't move pawns because every time you move a pawn, you do not move a piece. So here he's lost time. And here, maybe it could be argued that he's lost his advantage here. But here, he's still behind the pawn. He's still behind the developing move. Now, what move should Morphy make here? What move? Okay, let's take a few seconds and think about it. What move can Morphy make here? Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. So what move should Morphy make here? You go knight f6. And knight f6, and this is a reasonable move, but because the bishop is behind, is cut off from the king's side, knight f6 might be dangerous because of bishop g5. Now, you have to think like this, right? We have here, what is white's best piece in this position? What is white's best piece? Hey viewers, welcome. Welcome to me. It's me, Mr. C. Here for Chess for Children. Okay, and my website is chessforchildren.com. Does anybody know the bishop on c4? Exactly. The bishop, George got it again. The bishop on c4 is exactly the most important piece. It is the best piece that black has. Now, why is being up material so great? Well, it's great because you can be a bully, right? You've got more stuff. Material is the most important element in the game of chess. And since material is the most important element, the opponent is obligated to try to keep as many pieces on the board as he possibly can so that he can complicate and use his element. Bishop e6. George got the idea. Bishop e6, and this is how you deal when you, whoops, bishop e6, whoops, let me get the window capture here. Let me saw. bishop e6 is indeed the correct move. And why? Because now black says, hey, that bishop is beautiful. I don't like that bishop there. Let me get that bishop out. It's your best piece. Now you have a choice. You either exchange off the pieces, which is a trade which favors me, or you have to move the bishop away, thereby losing time. You have to move a piece twice. Now, without a doubt, we should not be moving pieces 2 times. So he's got a few moves. He's got bishop takes, right? And queen e2. I would consider these both probably the main moves, but bishop takes is probably the best. Okay, so as not to lose time, and then he get another move. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and he can get another move in castle or queen b3. Probably castle would be better. But Meek does not choose that, because Meek did not understand that you can't just be moving pieces willy-nilly in the opening. But Meek loves his white square bishop, so he plays it bishop to b7. Bishop to b5, I'm sorry. Probably thinking, hey, I'm pinning the knight. Okay? And now Morphy again, knight f6 would not be the best move here. Okay? So Morphy now gets a chance to move a piece. Anybody understand? Anybody want to venture a guess what he does here? Whoops, this is the wrong thing. Anybody want to venture a guess what he does? We wouldn't play queen d7 because that would put the knight in the pin. It's unnecessary. The knight's in the pin already. No sense in putting them in a double pin. But now it's time to, well, look, we brought out our knights. We brought out our knight. We brought out both bishops. It's time to move our knight. But not knight to f6, because bishop to g5 would justify it. Okay, and knight to d5 might be able to come in later. And it might harass us a little bit. Not to say it's winning or anything, but it's a little harassing. So he plays his knight to e7. And now let's count. Black has now out 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, whereas white has out 3 pieces. And remember, one advantage leads to another. In this case, the material advantage has now led to an advantage in time. Okay, a material advantage has now led to an advantage in time. Okay, so here, Meek then plays another move. And he plays knight to g5. Now this move is again moving a piece twice. So he now has out still only 3 pieces. Right? Still has out 3 pieces against. Now this, however, is not bad, but the problem is that he's running a little bit behind by time, and black can now make another move. Okay, black can now make another developing move. However, Meek probably thought it was compensated by the weakness if he's able to take e6. Now, black castles. Now black castles here, and he's saying, okay, if you take and I take back, then I'll have the rook and the bishop uncovering. But Meek was into an attacking position, and he played the most aggressive move. Whoops, that's not it. He didn't play that move. Bishop would take. He played queen h5, which threatens checkmate. Now again, threatening checkmate, there's no way to defend it other than the move h6. But here he makes Meek. He plays a move and makes Meek exchange off the pieces. And the move he does, if he plays knight takes e6, f takes e6, it's not really going to lead to much of anything. Okay, because the queen can go e8, then g6, and start attacking white. And plus, knight takes, pawn takes, threatens, bishop takes f2 check. Okay, in other words, if he plays knight takes, pawn takes, and let's see, how is he going to get in? Let's see, well, bishop takes, it's not, we can do things like, let's see, bishop takes, let's try bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Okay, he's attacking that. We can play bishop takes check. Might as well do a check before we go in. King up. Queen here. And if queen goes here, check. And queen goes here. We can go here. Check here. And it doesn't look like he has enough for the piece that he's given up. Okay, so right here, this is very speculative at best. Okay, very speculative at best. So there may be better ways to play for either side, but as we can see, black really has a piece up. It doesn't look like there's enough compensation. Against Morphy, I doubt there would be. So here we have knight f3. Morphy, Meek decides to decline because he doesn't want to exchange off. But now let's look at the advantage in time. Black has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves out. 5 pieces in play. Whereas white has 1, 2, 3, 4, and the queen. The queen is a target. But Meek wasn't completely weak. And Meek came up with this idea. Okay? He came up with the next idea of knight. Let's understand what Meek's idea is behind knight f3. Okay? This is white's idea. And it's not that naive. White says, okay, well, if I exchange off, but what can I do? I can play g4 and g5. If Meek gets in g4 and g5, he will then have an attack, and this is his idea. So now Morphy has to ask himself, well, what will happen if g4 and g5? Well, all the rook will come into the game, the pawn will, and see this h6 pawn. Remember we talked about space? See, this h6 pawn is now a target because we can play g4, g5, and the rook can come in the game, and it will be a very serious attack. So he's attacking on the flank. Meek has an idea to attack on the edge of the board. We call the flanks the A file, B file, G file, H file. These are the flanks. But when anyone attacks you on the side of the board, on the flanks, how do we counter attacks on the side of the board? How do we counter attacks on the side of the board? Well, the way to counter an attack on the side of the board is to attack in the center of the board. Now, let's look at the squares in the center. What central square does black control? What center squares does black control? Well, black controls E5 and D4. He can put a piece on E5 and D4 and nothing bad will happen to him. Right? He can put a piece on E5 and D4 and nothing bad will happen to him. So, how does he make use of this? Well, he plays another move and overprotects the square E5. And so he plays knight to G6. Hey, that knight's looking pretty good over there. And plus it's attacking E5 again. Okay, so right here, now Meek begins his plan here. And this was too ambitious of Meek. Meek should have realized that G5, even though desirable, it's not enough pieces over there. He probably counted the pieces. He saw the bishop was over there, the white square bishop, the knight, and the queen. And if he could get the pawn in there and pry this h6 pawn up, he might have a chance. But he misunderstood and didn't understand black's counter in the center. And black's counter in the center, and this is the point behind knight to g6, was to play the other knight from the queen side and bring it to help out on the king side and offer an exchange. And offer the exchange. Right? Now we're threatened with knight takes f3 check. So Meek probably said, hey, knight takes, I can probably play g5 then. I can probably play g5 then. But knight takes, pawn takes is the answer. Because now the queen is now part of the game. The queen is threatening to go to h4. And all of this will limit Meek's attack. Okay? Because Meek does have something. He has something for the attack. And he's trying to upset the balance, but look what goes on now. g5. Now this looks very dangerous. He's attacking on the flank. How does Morphy continue? How does Morphy continue with this game? Here you are. g5 looks very dangerous. G takes h6 is threatened. And here is where calculation becomes very important. Take your time. Anyone can figure it out? Anyone can figure it out? Well, the move is when someone attacks you on the flank, you attack them in the center. And Morphy plays queen to d4, which attacks in the center, threatening queen takes f2. Check. Well, that has to be counted by there's only one move here. Bishop here. And now queen to b4. Okay? Threatening bishop takes. Pawn takes, bishop would take. And then queen would take b2. So Meek said, hey, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this. And here they say that Morphy made a mistake, that queen takes c5 is fine. There's nothing wrong with queen takes c5. And pawn takes, because of the f4 square, because of the positional weaknesses here, he can more than survive here. He can actually thrive. But here they say Morphy's move, queen takes b2, was a mistake. But it's enough to confuse Meek. It's enough to confuse Meek. And what happened here was Meek played bishop. Meek played, let's see, queen takes b2. Okay. And Meek castled, which is fine. And now queen takes c3. Now, right here, Meek has to realize that his king side is tremendously weak. And in fact, Morphy has a better game. There's not much you can do about it. But what he should have did was rook on f to c1. Okay, rook on f to c1. But here he took the rook. Greed. Okay. And Morphy here again, they said this was a blunder, that Morphy could win quicker with knight to f4. And yes, indeed, that's probably the case. If knight to f4, rook on f to c1. Okay. Rook on, I'm sorry, rook on f to c1. Okay, rook on f to c1. And queen a5. Queen to d1. Knight to h3 check. King to g2. Rook takes f8. Okay, rook takes f8. Bishop to c4. Knight takes g5. Bishop takes. Knight takes. And look at all these pawns and the weakness in the king side. This is just going to get him crushed. Okay, that's a way, and it's a better way. But Morphy chose another way, and they say actually that queen takes b2 was a mistake on Morphy's part. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back to the game. So bishop takes. Well, hold on, let's see. Let's go back. I'm messing up here. Rook on f. Queen a5. Bishop. Oh, right. Okay, let's go back. Knight f4. Bishop c4. Knight f4. Queen back to d1. Knight takes. Knight check. Doubtful. Queen b6 again, but Morphy has the idea of taking and bringing the queen over. There are more efficient ways Morphy could play. And now the game ends pretty quickly. And even though both sides made a lot of errors, this game, without a doubt, illustrates the way to take advantage of when you're material up. When you're material up, trade. Why trade? Because then you can be a bully when you're trading, so that your opponent has nothing and you have something. You can actually get closer to victory. Okay, trading will get you closer to victory. And that means if your opponent has well-placed pieces, if they're placed in a good position, you can challenge those pieces, and then they won't be well-placed, or they'll be traded off. Either one. So that gives you more options. When you have more pieces, when you have more stuff, when you have more force, you have more options. Okay, so when you're up in material, trade. When you're down in material, avoid trading. When you're up in material, be a bully. Force the opponent to take their well-placed pieces and place them in bad positions. Why is this the good strategy? Because you have material. It's the most important element. If you're up a rook, you'll always be up a rook unless you drop it back. And the only chance he has in getting it back is to have better placed pieces. Okay, so that's force in chess. And next time we will deal with, let's see, we did with time. We dealt with space. We dealt with force. And next time we will deal with harmony. And we will use a chess game to deal with that. And now what we're going to do right now is, if anyone wants to challenge me, well, I'm going to play a couple of games. If anybody wants to challenge me on the show, well, I'll be glad to answer. I'll be glad to, just so long as it's less than 10 minutes. Okay, so let's go to LI Chess. Okay, and if there's any challenge, all you got to do is look for NMCLDNG, and I'll be willing to play you. Let's see now. Play. I'm going to hit play. Okay, and I have no challenges here. Okay, and let's see, I'm going to play 5 minutes. And let's see how this looks. Oh, that looks beautiful. Okay, and they played knight f6. Knight f3. Knight f3, beautiful move. I'm going to play knight f6. d4, g6, c4, bishop g7. Knight there. Oh, we're going into King's Indian. I played d6. I could play castle too. I'm just saying. Usually I would play castle if they play the same-ish, which is the pawn to f3. But here, I'm just going to castle. Who am I playing? A 2364? It's a little higher rated than me. e5. We're going to play the classical variation. He'll probably play the bayonet attack because it's... Oh, okay. So we're going to play like this. This is classical. Okay. So, all this is book. All this is book. So, right there, I have to move my knight. Okay, so we'll just play here. Okay, don't care. Let me play my bishop back. I'm playing my bishop back so that I can just... now this pawn is protected 2 different ways. I don't have to worry about that. He may want to do that and attack the pawn. Let me play g4 here. Okay. So he may want to take this. So what do I do here? I'm going to get out the way. Okay. I think I have to take this. And then take this. Take this. Okay. And now I'm going to play here. Okay. Okay, now he has an extra pawn here, and I'm countering it by, well, I have to move my rook, right? The problem is this pawn, he has to protect it like that. Okay. Now, I have to see if I can get in another different kind of way. I can... Okay, I think I have to do it like this. I'm not too worried about this pawn because I can always take it. And I think I will take it, actually. Can I take this? I don't care about the rook. And I'll take like this. Now I'm attacking the bishop. The bishop has to decide where to go. Okay, now here. I don't know, I'm gonna move my thing here. Okay, queen d3. I'm gonna play my queen. Queen d3. Where is my queen here? Okay, interesting position. Knight there. Okay. Now knight has to go back because queen can't go back because I take this. That was the move I was counting on most of the time. Now I'm going to play my bishop to d8 to b6. Okay. I'm going to check here. Okay, and now I'm just going to protect my pawn here, and we'll see what he wants to do. It's funny because even though his pieces, I don't see how his pieces are going to improve the situation. I can even play my king up, right? He can never move his rook off the back rank. How am I going to improve my position, though? That's the question. I don't think I can. I really don't think I can improve my position, but I don't think he can improve his either. My queen is perfectly placed. I think I'm just going to move my king back and forth. My king going back and forth. Hi, everybody. Anybody talking to me? Nah, my king, I'm just moving my king back and forth. Okay, he can do that, and he wants to do that. I'm going to take my queen. Okay, so what's he want to do? I don't know. I'm going to just come here. I mean, my king is nice and safe here. As long as I don't move any pieces out, I think I'm fine. Okay. I'm just going to come back up here. It's harder for him to try to figure out how to win than it is for me to figure out how to draw. Okay, totally get it. He can't play rook here. Okay. Now I actually thread knight takes pawn here. Okay. No. Okay, so this is why my pieces were maximized. There was nothing he could have done. He just had to maintain that. Hey, I got 7 points. Now I'm 23-30. Let me try another opponent. Okay, I have no challengers, so I'm just going to try another opponent here. I've been up to 24 something. I don't know, 24 something. Now here at this point, I usually play knight f3. So now I can play c3 if I wanted to. And let's do that. Let's play c3. This is a little different way to play this. I'm going to play h3 to limit his knight and his bishop. Yes, I know it loses. Now right here, he wants to do e5. Well, I'll just play here. I'm not too worried about e5. Pawn takes, pawn takes. That's one of the reasons why we play this move. Okay. Now I'm going to play here. Now he wants to do f5. Okay. And now if I play knight c4, if I play queen here, let me play, nope, let me play a3. a3. So that if he plays f5, now we're talking. I play d5 now. Okay, now we have to talk about rook here. Okay, bishop here. Okay. Now g3. Or do I play knight here? Let's play knight here first. See what he does. Trying to consolidate my king side. Right. Okay. And if I take, let me play my pawn here. I'm stopping g4, but what I'm really trying to do, we'll see what he does here. I'm probably going to play my knight to g4 next, but I'm looking at playing my, yes, pawn takes, pawn takes. Let me play here. I could have played g4. Could have played g4. This knight can go to e3, but if he takes, right? Let me take here. Now my knight will go to c4. Okay, and now I think I have to hit him with knight to e3. Okay. Pawn takes. Okay, now if I play pawn takes, well, I have to. I can't. Okay. Now if I play knight takes, I can play queen c2, knight h6. I can play bishop here. Oh, bishop there. I have to play knight takes, right? Okay. And I have to play queen takes. Okay, now king up. It's not easy to defend positions like this. It surely isn't. And I'm not happy about it. I think g3 will get me fine. G3 looks like it might just be able to get me in a decent position. Just trying to survive now. Okay, if I play g3, okay, I have to get out the way. Now the next move is going to be bishop g7, bishop g2. If bishop h4, rook to e3. Rook T3. Okay, Rook to F3. Rook to F3. I have to move this rook. Okay, knight there. Attacking my queen, my rook. I have to get it out the way. Okay, bishop there. I can play bishop here, right? Let me play bishop here just for a second. Okay. And now if I king up. It's a fine line I'm walking here. A fine, fine line. I have to be very careful. Okay. Okay, now I'm a pawn down, but this knight looks very trapified. If I can just okay, rook there. Okay. Rook here. Okay, knight there. Let me take. Oh boy, let's. Okay, I have a chance. Let's see if I take. Pawn takes. King here. Okay, let me push my pawn a little more. Okay. Gotta move fast. Okay. Draw. Whew! Was lucky to draw that game. Okay, and now, remember me. It's my name, Mr. C. I have now, it's me. It's now, by the time on the clock, my time is up. And so I have to go where all the good chess masters go, which is to Wednesday. I shall see you all on Wednesday. Remember, it's me, Mr. C, and I shall be here on Wednesday at 11 to 12 o'clock. Okay, see you then. Okay, let's see. Hello, Chess for Children kids. It's me.
Children, kids, so much fun, you'll split a rib. Summer, winter, fall, we'll checkmate them all with a chess for